Today on CityCast Nashville, it is time to vote in the Davidson County primary election. Early voting is happening now through April 30th, with Election Day on May 5th. We're going to give you a quick reminder of what's on the ballot. Plus, why is the state legislature so obsessed with Nashville? A new security company could be working with the Nashville Downtown Partnership. And good news, our soccer team just pulled off a historic win on the international stage. Oh, and I cannot forget, we're continuing our brand new members-only bonus segment called Hell Nah. It's Friday, April 17th. I'm your host, Marie Cecile Anderson, and this is what Nashville's talking about. CityCast Nashville newsletter editor Margaret Kingsbury, good morning.
Good morning. I was doing a tune to the Singing in the Rain. Good morning. Good morning.
Oh. We danced the whole night through.
Good morning.
Oh my God.
Good morning to you.
To you.
Well, that other voice you hear is contributor Nicole Williams. A good day to you too.
Hello.
Y'all, I am so happy you both are here joining me and shouting out the fact that we are in the middle of our spring membership campaign. If you join today as a CityCast Nashville neighbor, you're going to have access to our exclusive members-only segment called Hell Nah, where we do not hold back on our gripes and grievances about what it's like to live here in Music City.
Overall, we try to stay super positive here because we believe life in our city should be joyful. But today we've got beef about the real possibility of Nashville getting a Las Vegas-style sphere downtown.
Nicole, I know you have some thoughts on that one, but I'm going to say, hold it for the bonus segment. This is just for CityCast Nashville neighbors who will be getting this new bonus content every single Friday from now on. It's just one of the many benefits you get when you become a member. And we are really excited about getting into the hot goss we've heard on the street about the reality of the sphere coming to Nashville. So why not pause the episode right now and become a CityCast Nashville neighbor right now so you can make sure to always get the full conversation. Plus, if you join this week, you will get our exclusive CityCast Nashville Oxford pennant. It's an American-made felt pennant that you can hang in your home or office to show off your city pride. Margaret, what other benefits do members get?
As a neighbor, you'll get a weekly curated events preview that I put together every week, plus invites to members-only events where you can connect with folks who love the city as much as you do.
Love it.
We've sung karaoke at the Lipstick Lounge, volunteered at Radnor Lake, and taken a sake class together at Rice Spice. We'd love to have y'all join us for our next event.
Yes, exactly. The events are our favorite part, truly.
Yeah.
It's $10 a month and $100 a year, so go ahead and join today at membership.citycast.fm/Nashville. Now, let's get into this week's news, shall we? It's election time, folks. Early voting for the Davidson County primary election runs now until April 30th, with Election Day on May 5th. Now, Margaret.
That's me.
This is a heavy task that we're going to ask you to do. Can you give us the rundown?
I sure can. I'm going to try to make this quick for people. This election will determine who will fill Nashville's criminal, circuit, and general sessions court benches, several clerks' offices, and 4 Metro Nashville Public School Board seats for the even districts, so 2, 4, 6, and 8. All candidates are Democrats. The Nashville Banner and the Tennessean have great profiles of all the candidates, so check those out before you head out to vote. If you meet eligibility requirements, the last day to request an absentee ballot is April 25th. Tennessee does not have same-day voter registration. So if you're not registered to vote right now, you cannot vote in this election. But you should go ahead and register to vote so you can vote in the August 6th election, where you can cast your ballot on the final county candidates, plus the state and federal primaries. There are 13 early voting locations throughout Davidson County. On Election Day, though, you must vote at your designated polling location. You can find your polling location on your voter registration card or check online at tn.gov/voter lookup. Don't show up to an early voting location on May 5th unless it's your designated polling location or you'll be turned away. I did this the first time I voted here in Nashville. I accidentally showed up at the Bellevue Library thinking I could vote there, and I could not. So it happens, but just check where you're supposed to vote if you're voting on Election Day. And make sure to bring your photo ID. So do y'all like to early vote or vote on election day?
Early vote.
That's what I do too. Nicole?
Yeah, in theory, I early vote, but a lot of times I forget. Just being
Yes,
honest.
that's fair.
Oh,
That's fair.
There is something to the sort of civic participation aspect of like going on election day to your precinct and like casting your ballot that way. But it is, quite frankly, much easier in Nashville to just early vote. We've got several different locations, and generally speaking, the lines are going to be much shorter or non-existent.
Yeah. Though I will say for this election, they're not expecting a high turnout. Let's prove them wrong, folks. But you're not likely to run into a lot of lines with this election.
yeah. Well, speaking of our elected officials, this legislative session is probably in its final weeks, y'all. Margaret, what are some of the bills our state legislators have deigned to pass this week? Anything actually good?
I hate to disappoint you, Marie, but I fear I have no choice. So our Republican supermajority have passed a bill this week requiring the Tennessee Department of Health to list the number and type of gender-affirming treatments across the state on a public website. So basically, if you get a gender-affirming transgender treatment, it has to be posted on a public website. The bill sponsors promise that patients' identifying information will not be listed. Can we trust them? I do not know. The bill also requires insurance companies that cover gender-affirming care for trans people to also cover detransition treatment. We talked to Dayron Johnson earlier this month about this bill and other anti-LGBTQ plus bills being considered this session. So go give that episode a listen if you have a chance.
So I wonder if this bill is likely a lawsuit and not a law.
I mean, one can hope, but I'm a little worried about this one because there's been other anti-LGBTQ plus bills that have not been challenged. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this one.
Yeah, and I would say, the state does post information about a variety of not like treatments, but they do surveillance data around like public health issues, like communicable diseases, that sort of thing. So it's not unheard of for there to be like publicly available data regarding medical conditions of Tennesseans. Same thing happens at the federal level. Like this is all very useful in public health. I have a master's in public health, so I'm like all about having publicly available data.
Nicole!
Yeah.
A wealth of knowledge, my lady.
So this information is really useful in public health. The one thing I will say about this is maybe it can serve to push back against the narrative that there is just some booming gender affirming care industry in Tennessee. Like we know that Vanderbilt shut down its whole division and they're not doing surgeries anymore. So like maybe this will provide some ability to push back on that narrative and like the fear mongering around transgender people in Tennessee.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, because maybe it'll show just this very few numbers. It is a small percentage.
But obviously, it is likely to dissuade people from seeking care, particularly in smaller counties, smaller areas. If we're looking at the data at that level, like people could be easily identified.
Yeah, and that was a worry initially, and why they were going to list people's information or some of it, and then they took that out because they were like, in these small counties, if you list any information about the person, then people are going to be able to target them. Yeah. Speaking about a potential lawsuit and not a law, the Charlie Kirk Act prohibits university administrators from uninviting a speaker based on their opposition to LGBTQ plus and abortion rights. It also requires disciplinary action against students and faculty who disrupt a speaker by staging a walkout or protesting. This is passed, folks. So if you are a student and you object to a speaker coming to your university and decide to have a walkout or a protest, you could get penalized for doing that. This one does seem like a freedom of speech issue to me, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's some challenge or pushback to it.
And is this just public universities? Because I wouldn't think that the state has the ability to require disciplinary measures at a private university.
That's a good point.
Generally speaking, when they're doing legislation around education, it's like public schools.
It is public. I just checked and it's public schools only.
So UT folks,
Yeah.
like, be on the lookout.
Middle Tennessee State.
That's so disheartening because you're hoping to empower these young people to use their minds, their education to fight back on issues that they, deem worthy to speak out against. That's kind of why I think, people go to university.
Well,
I don't know, to learn how to challenge the system.
Yeah, and these are adults. Like, at this point, they're legally adults, and
right.
This is pretty paternalistic. Also, I think it's always interesting the kind of speech that our legislators choose to protect and advance above other types of speech. So they're not saying to university administrators, you can't uninvite a speaker based on viewpoint, period. They're saying you can't uninvite speakers based on anti-LGBTQ plus views or anti-abortion views.
Yep.
Can't wait to hear from my other friends in other places talk about Tennessee.
Yep, I've already gotten.
This is when I get text messages.
Yeah, I've already gotten a text message or two from friends that don't live in this state. So, yay.
All my friends live here. So
all your friends live here.
We're all commiserating.
Yeah, that's true. I want to talk about one last bill that's headed to Governor Bill Lee's desk to sign that I wanted to highlight because it targets Nashville. And I haven't seen a lot of news coverage of this one yet. So it starts out good. This bill allows local governments to reduce their sales tax on food and groceries. Lowering or eliminating our grocery tax has been something that local lawmakers like Rep. Afton Bain and Senator Heidi Campbell have been advocating for years. However, and this is a big however, a section of the bill would require Nashville to shrink the size of its Metro Council in order to reduce the grocery tax. So it specifically targets Nashville. Nicole, can you tell us about the state's efforts to reduce the size of our Metro Council?
Yeah, this is so fascinating to me because it's like, guys, chill. Like, the people of Nashville decided that they wanted this insanely large council. I have said multiple times on the show, I do think that the council should be smaller, but I do not think the state should be forcing our hand on that. And more importantly, we currently have a lawsuit pending at the Tennessee Supreme Court. We're waiting for a ruling really any day now about a 2023 bill that the legislature passed to try to force Nashville to reduce the size of its council. I have predicted that that bill will actually survive at the Supreme Court and that Nashville will have to reduce the size of its council for the 2027 metro elections. But can we just give it a rest, see what happens with the bill we've already got in play, and then if it doesn't work out the way you wanted it to, come back to it next year, guys. You're back every year. You can even ask the governor to call a special session. Call a special session to target Nashville. I don't know why they are so hell-bent on this. They're obsessed with us. And frankly, it's embarrassing for them.
We know we're awesome, but give it
don't
a rest.
need the constant reminder.
They're like, we have to go to Nashville to do our legislative business. And every time we pass by one public square, the historic Metro Courthouse, we think to ourselves, those 40 people, how dare they be in there doing the work? It's an affront, really. It's a personal insult to every Republican lawmaker that we have 40 Metro Council members.
And I mean, I'm just imagining them craft this bill, to reduce the grocery tax. And they're like, hey, we're going to add this Nashville burn in there. And it's like, what? What are you doing?
Guys, take a chill pill.
Yeah.
But do you think Nashville really would reduce the size of Metro Council just so that we could
No.
lower our grocery tax?
No, absolutely
I don't
not.
think Yeah, I don't think so either.
Because there's no appetite for it locally. Like, there's just not. So, yeah, I don't know what they thought they were doing. I'll be interested to see how many localities actually eliminate or reduce the sales tax on groceries, like the local option sales tax. I also think it's state lawmakers could have done this for the state portion of sales tax, but instead they chose to pass the buck to local
Yep.
municipalities to handle that. Like, they weren't courageous enough to just make the hard decision themselves. And I always find it fascinating, again, where when local control, quote unquote, matters to state lawmakers and when it doesn't. They're
Yep.
like, oh, well, localities should be able to make this decision because it affects their ability to like raise revenue, blah, blah, blah. We don't want to do that to the localities by, imposing something on them. But they shouldn't get to choose how many people are in their legislative body.
Or, the Music City Loop, who gets to control that?
Yes.
Taking over that decision.
Or mask mandates, or any number of things. Trigger warning, COVID.
Whether you are looking for upbeat live music venues or a historic trail to hike, Tupelo, Mississippi is positively the place for a memorable spring getaway. Start your journey with a scenic drive along the Natchez Trace Parkway, or take a short flight via Contour Airlines. With more than 200 restaurants, Tupelo is for foodies. Whether you desire a taste of the South at Romy's Grocery or an elevated culinary plate at Forklift, Tupelo is an Epicurean delight. Visit Blue Canoe, Tupelo's home for original live music, where talented performers take the Cathead stage throughout the week. And no trip to Tupelo is complete without a stop at Queen's Reward Meadery, Mississippi's first and only meadery. Go ahead, visit tupelo.net to plan your next getaway. Hey y'all, it's Marie, host of CityCast Nashville. We are in our spring membership campaign and have something really exciting to give new neighbors who join over the next 2 weeks. You've probably seen Oxford pennants, felt wool pennants on Instagram or hanging in your favorite local spots. You know the ones, they're brightly colored, American made, and honestly, pretty freaking cool. And guess what? This spring, they have made one just for us, for Nashville, as a celebration of everything we love about our city. It's yellow, has our city name front and center, a guitar icon, because come on, we're Music City. And it says, I live here on purpose, because we do. These are handcrafted in Buffalo, New York, and designed specifically for CityCast Nashville. These are one of a kind. You are not going to find them anywhere else. So go ahead, hang it in your home, at your office, wherever you want to remind yourself and everyone around you that you love this city with all its quirks and that you want to be a part of making it better. And when you become a CityCast Nashville neighbor, you're also getting ad-free listening, invitations to member-only events, and more. It's $10 a month or $100 a year, and it goes directly to supporting the show and the team of locals who make it. Join before April 24th to get the pennant at membership.citycast.fm/Nashville. That's membership.citycast.fm/Nashville. We'll see you around the neighborhood. All right, now let's turn our attention to glorious downtown Nashville. Y'all, there has been a little behind-the-scenes shakeup happening down there that you might not be aware of, a little changing of the guards, if you will. The Nashville Downtown Partnership, a nonprofit who handles additional services like cleaning the streets, managing safety concerns, helping tourists find their way. Basically, they kind of help manage the vibe in the Central Business Improvement District, which includes downtown and parts of the Gulch. Well, they submitted their budget to Metro Council. Now, Nicole, I'm going to turn to you. This seems kind of pretty routine to send their requested budget to council, right?
Well, Marie, it should have been routine because the legislation that council passed decades ago to create the Central Business Improvement District required the District Management Corporation, which is like the technical name for the entity that manages the CBID, and that is Nashville Downtown Partnership right now. It required them to submit a yearly budget for the council to review and approve or send back and request edits, essentially. This makes sense because it is an entity that only exists by virtue of the council creating it. It is a large portion of like the urban core of our city. And so you would think the council would want to have some say or at least understanding, oversight of what is happening downtown. Well, about 22 years ago, no one knows why, but the Nashville Downtown Partnership stopped submitting its budgets to council for approval and started just sending them to the finance department.
I didn't know this.
Nobody knows why it happened. Nobody knows how it was allowed to go on for so long, but clearly a huge oversight. And in the past year or so, we've seen a lot of scrutiny of what the Nashville Downtown Partnership is doing downtown. And so there have been calls from council members to reinstitute the legal oversight that they were supposed to have had this entire time. So this is the first time we're doing this in over 2 decades, guys.
Okay, so Nicole, then why now?
Yeah, so I think we've seen a lot of scrutiny of what Nashville Downtown Partnership is doing downtown, particularly things like the security contract that they have that is expiring with Solaren Risk Management, a very shady firm that had its security officers posing as sworn law enforcement officers. Another issue, I don't know if you all are aware, but the library parking garage kind of blew up last year, and while there has been no formal determination of the cause, we do know that a subcontractor of NDP was storing fuel tanks on the 4th floor of the library parking garage. Like you do. And, people are said to have heard explosions when the fire started. So we don't know exactly what started the fire, but I can assure you that having fuel tanks available when a fire has started is going to cause problems. So we're still in like active negotiations with the downtown partnership over who's responsible for all of the cost of bringing the library back online. And then late last year, there was the whole brouhaha over a $15 million state grant that was going to the Nashville Downtown Partnership, and council members were concerned about what they were going to use that money for. So just over the past year or so, we've seen a lot of unfortunate situations with NDP that have raised questions and sort of unearthed this other issue of, oh, hey, we were supposed to be doing oversight of their budget for the past many decades, and we haven't done it in 22 years. So that's why now.
Do you want to hear something crazy about that too?
Yes.
So NDP, Nashville Downtown Partnership, is proposing a new security company because the Solaren contract is expiring. So they want to pick a new security company. I think it's pronounced Civicity. I was looking at it. I was like, is it Civic-Ity? Civic City? I'm going to say Civic City. Yeah, I was like, how are you going to pronounce this? But it is a division of that company that was responsible for the fuel tanks in the library garage.
Mm-hmm.
So it's recently developed from the same people that owned that company that had the fuel tanks in the library garage.
And don't they also, I was going to say, don't they also partner with THP, the troopers?
Yes, they look like they're going to be very similar. They're going to partner with Tennessee Highway Patrol troopers to be officers downtown when they're off duty. So I'm not sure what the difference is, if this is a step up or not, but we shall see, I guess.
It seems a lot like a distinction without a difference. Solaren was getting a lot of heat, and so Nashville Downtown Partnership has decided to nominally change management of the security contract, but it appears as though a lot of the same tactics will be used. And I just have an issue with giving a multi-million-dollar contract to an entity that is about 5 or 6 weeks old.
Yeah.
I don't know that that would be my first choice if I were looking at all of my options. So that raises some questions for sure.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make you feel safer?
Well, I don't really go downtown and I feel plenty safe. So I don't need all of that mess.
When does Metro Council approve the budget?
If you're asking me, the answer is I don't know. It's unclear to me simply because this is the first time it's happened in over 2 decades.
Right.
Obviously, the Metro budget has to be approved by the council, or the mayor's budget would go into effect by June 30th. And the Nashville Downtown Partnership's budget is essentially like a little line item in Metro's budget. So ultimately, they'll have to approve that budget as a whole by June 30th. But I think that presenting it to the council now gives some lead time for the council to consider and perhaps ask for changes.
All right. Well, speaking of waiting with bated breath, we finally have a verdict in the federal antitrust lawsuit against Live Nation Entertainment. So drum roll, please. Guilty. They're found guilty. The verdict upholds findings that Live Nation and its Ticketmaster subsidiary operated as a monopoly. So basically, the ruling says they used their massive control over venues, tours, and ticket sales to shut out competition and drive up prices for fans. But what happens next is still very much up in the air. Margaret, Nicole, how do we think this is going to play out? And why should Nashville concert goers care about this ruling?
Well, they could break up Live Nation and Ticketmaster, which would potentially open up Nashville smaller venues and indie venues to kind of fill the space there and get a foot in.
I don't know if y'all have noticed, it is incredibly expensive to go to a concert nowadays. And so my hope would be that any action would lower the cost of going to a concert. I used to go to concerts all the time when I was younger. Like, you could get a very affordable ticket to a concert, big names even. And now you're looking at hundreds of dollars for like nosebleed seats. So hopefully this will make concert going more accessible for Tennesseans.
That would be great.
That would make Music City back to old school Music City when anybody could afford to go to see shows here.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Live Nation said in a statement that the jury's verdict is not the last word on this matter. Of course, Live Nation can and will appeal any unfavorable rulings on these motions, they said. So, guess we'll just continue to keep an eye on this and report back. Oh boy. Now, this is when I really miss our beloved executive producer, Whitney Pasterek, who is currently on vacation right now because we are talking sports. Let me see if I can do it justice, okay? Because really big news for Nashville in the sports world. The Nashville Soccer Club went down to Mexico City and beat Club America, one of the biggest, most dominant clubs in North America. Clubs meaning like a soccer team. Okay, I had to, I'm catching up. Another soccer team. And they did it on their home turf. So apparently this never happens, meaning it's an actual like huge historic win for our team. And now they are headed to the semifinals of the CONCACAF Champions Cup for the first time in club history, which actually kicks off the week of April 27th with the first match right here at Geodis Park. So I got to ask y'all, are we paying enough attention to Nashville Soccer Club? I mean, this seems like some really exciting stuff. International news. We've made international news. Margaret, Nicole, are y'all going to go to a match?
I'm real happy they kicked that ball real well and won that game. They kicked it. I don't know that I'm going to a match, but I'm happy for them.
I will say I'm not a big sports person, but I have been to a couple NSC matches at Geodis, and the energy is electric. It is so much fun, which is crazy for me to say as a person who doesn't even like leaving her house, but it is so much fun. And I think if you've been to, like, the energy is similar to a Preds game. Just like everyone coming together, having the time of their lives, which, by the way, football games suck. The energy is drunk.
Not the same vibe.
Not the vibe. The energy is drunk and not cool. But soccer game energy, largely sober, very cool.
All right, a lot of other things are happening this weekend. Record Store Day is tomorrow, which is kind of like Black Friday for music nerds with exclusive limited edition releases you can only get in stores. I appreciated the Nashville scene giving us a great rundown of all the happenings, but they did mention that you should be sure to check in on your favorite store, either in person or call them on the phone or check their social media. It seems like there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to Record Day. So just confirm the details before you go. Let's turn it to Earth Day. Actually, Earth Day is tomorrow. And it's really exciting that Centennial Park is having a major extravaganza from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's a free family event with a free tree giveaway for the first 1,500 households, live music, food trucks, and exhibitors and vendors. I've been a couple years ago, and it was just such a joyful experience. So please head out to Centennial Park. Again, it's free. Well, if it's a beautiful day, I highly recommend it. And then Margaret pointed out that the last day to put your debris from the ice storm at the curb is this Sunday, April 19th.
Yeah, I still see a lot around. A lot of trees are still down.
Yeah.
I have a good news. I know I'm not usually the most active participant in this segment, but the Nashville Yarn Festival is happening today and tomorrow, April 17th and 18th at the fairgrounds. I am so excited because I love to knit. If you're a knitter, if you're a crocheter, or if you just want to be around a bunch of cool people, there's going to be music. The fairgrounds is cool. Like, come hang out. You might see me.
Out in person. Just be kind. You know, when you see a celebrity, just be respectful.
My hand hurts from all the autographs I have to sign. So
I'm sure. Other amazing news is that they have extended tax day again to June 8th for all counties in Tennessee. So I hope you didn't struggle like I did, like trying to get them in April 15th, even though we had an extension. Now you do have an extension till June 8th. So that's wonderful news. All right. Well, that is today's show, folks. But if you are a CityCast Nashville neighbor, go ahead, stick around because we have our brand spanking new segment called Hell Nah, where we're going to air out our grievances and just for a sec, go off on Nashville. So make sure you're listening in your members only ad feed. And if you're not a neighbor, sign up right now during our spring membership campaign and you'll get our hot takes in your special members only feed. And maybe you yourself could be on the show with a gripe of your own. So join at the link in our show notes or by visiting membership.citycast.fm/Nashville. And then Fridays by the River is tonight. Folks, please come out to Fridays by the River. We are presenting sponsors of this event. And tonight they have Nicoletto's, Mac Shack, Lady Dogs, Hot Wheels, Kiwi Scoops, Real Fruit Ice Cream. And the band Mary Moore is going to be performing. So again, come on out. It's food trucks. It's free. There's beer. There's families. There's dogs. We're always there. It's so much fun. And we hope to see you tonight. So come on out.
Yes.
Well, I think we have done it. Ladies, Nicole, it is always a pleasure. And Margaret, I love that the both of you all, your powers were finally combined today for today's Friday News Roundup. So thank you both for joining me.
I was hoping one day I'd finally get to meet the famous Nicole. Now I just need to get her autograph. Yeah.
Here I am.
Well, maybe if you go to the Yarn Festival, you can get that autograph. Well, have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
That's all for today here on CityCast Nashville. And please go early vote if you can. And don't forget, you can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Nashville neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. I'm your host, Marie Cecile Anderson. Our executive producer is Whitney Pasterek. Our producer this week is Alex Drewenskus. Our CityCast Nashville newsletter editor is Margaret Kingsbury, with support this week from Elizabeth Kama and Natalia Aldana. Our theme music is by Prof. Jenkins, with additional music by Aman Nadir and James from Triple Scoop Music via Getty Images. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell your friends? Rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our CityCast Nashville newsletter. We'll be back Monday morning with more news from around the city. Toodles!